This is a real mess, isn't it? What do you think, Officer Rodriguez?
Yeah, it's a gruesome one, no doubt. The victim had multiple stab wounds, and it looks like a struggle took place.
Any witnesses?
Not yet, but I've asked the neighbors. Maybe someone saw or heard something. We are checking the security cameras as well.
Did you talk to the family?
Yeah, they're understandably devastated. They found their loved one like that this morning. Can't even imagine what they're going through.
Any leads or motives?
Nothing concrete yet. We'll have to dig into the victim's background, talk to friends and co-workers. There's got to be a reason for this. The crime doesn't seem random.
It's brutal. What kind of weapon do you think was used?
Hard to say, but those deep puncture wounds suggest a knife. We'll send samples to the lab for analysis. Maybe we'll get lucky with fingerprints.
This is a real tragedy. We need to solve this one quickly. The family deserves closure, and our community needs to know they're safe.
I agree. We'll keep working on this one, pull in the detectives if needed. Let's hope we find something that leads us to the killer.
Yeah. For now, let's secure the scene, gather all the evidence we can, and keep the family updated on our progress.
We will. We owe it to them and to the victim.
Dr. Reynolds, thanks for making time for us. We've got a homicide victim here. It's a real gruesome case.
Of course, officer. Show me what you've got.
The victim was found with multiple stab wounds. It looks like a violent attack. We need to know more about the cause of death, any possible evidence from the body, and how long ago this happened.
I'll do my best to provide those answers. Let's start with the cause of death.
Do you think you can find any trace evidence on the body that might lead us to the perpetrator?
We'll check for fibers, hairs, or any foreign substances. If the attacker left any DNA behind, it could be crucial. We'll also collect fingernail scrapings in case the victim fought back.
Good. Every little detail counts in solving this case. How about the time of death? Any estimates?
I'll take the body temperature and check rigor mortis, but this is just an initial estimate. It won't be precise. We'll cross-reference it with witness statements and any available surveillance footage.
This case is getting a lot of attention. We need results as soon as possible.
I understand the urgency. We'll work diligently and make sure we preserve any evidence properly.
Thanks, Dr. Reynolds. Your expertise is invaluable in bringing justice to the victim and their family.
It's my duty. We'll get to the bottom of this, officer.
Mr. Anderson, I'm Officer Smith. We've been investigating the case of your son's murder, and I'd like to talk to you about it. Can we sit down for a moment?
Yes, officer. Please come in. I can't believe what happened to my boy.
I understand this is incredibly difficult for you, Mr. Anderson. We are doing everything we can to find the person responsible. First, can you tell me anything about your son's recent activities or if he had any enemies?
My son, John, was a good kid. He was a quiet, hard-working young man. He didn't have any enemies that I know of. He just went to work, came home, and spent time with his family.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Mr. Anderson. We'll do our best to bring justice for John. Were there any unusual occurrences or anyone new in his life recently?
Nothing out of the ordinary. He did mention a new friend a few weeks ago, but he didn't say much about them. He was a private person.
We'll look into that. Also, were there any disagreements or conflicts within the family or with anyone he knew?
No, he got along with everyone, including his siblings and colleagues. He was a peaceful young man.
Do you have any idea why someone would want to harm him?
No, officer, I can't imagine. He had so much life ahead of him. He was a good kid.
We'll do everything we can to find answers. We are working with the forensic team to gather evidence and identify a suspect. Please, if you think of anything that might help, don't hesitate to contact us.
Thank you, officer. I just want justice for my son.
We'll keep you updated on our progress, Mr. Anderson, please take care.
The police officer reassures the grieving father and promises to work diligently on the case, leaving the door open for further communication as they strive to find the truth about the murder.
Well, that was a tough one, Johnson. Mr. Anderson is really torn up about his son.
Yeah, that's heart-wrenching, Officer Smith. What did he say about the case?
He mentioned John, the victim, being a quiet, hardworking young man, no known enemies, and a mention of a new friend recently.
A new friend. That might be a lead worth pursuing. Did he have any info about this friend?
Unfortunately, no. John was a private person, and Mr. Anderson didn't know much about this new friend. But it's definitely something we need to follow up on.
Alright, we'll include that in our report. What else did he say? Any hints about a motive?
Mr. Anderson was really at a loss, didn't know why anyone would want to hurt his son. He mentioned that there were no conflicts within the family or among his son's acquaintances.
That's strange. It doesn't seem like a personal vendetta if no one had any issues with John.
I agree. It makes this case even more puzzling. We are going to need every piece of information we can find.
You mentioned updating the forensic team. Did Mr. Anderson have any specific questions or concerns?
He just wants justice for his son, Johnson. He's in the dark about all of this. He doesn't know what to expect or what we'll find.
It's never easy, breaking the news to a family. We'll do our best, Officer Smith.
Thanks, Johnson. Let's head back to the station. We need to start looking into that new friend and check for any surveillance footage in the area.
Right. We'll get on it, and hopefully, we can piece this together soon.
The police officer and the driver discuss the conversation with Mr. Anderson and make plans for further investigation, determined to find answers in the murder case.